Hi, my name is Justin Vaughn. Others know me better as Justin the Insurance Guy. But before I embarked on this insurance journey to become an insurance agent, I've always been a PK. If you don't know what a PK is, that means preacher's kid. So I am the son of a pastor. I was the grandson of a pastor. I am the brother of a pastor. So as you can see, pastors, preachers, churches, just all over my family. But growing up, I've seen a lot from a perspective of a PK and what it means to, at least from my perspective, to be a pastor and the sacrifices. Now, there's good and bad people, right? So we know in our culture, especially, there is a kind of this barrier between law enforcement and our community. So we know people say, hey, there's bad cops, but there's also good cops, right? And equally in the culture of the world that I'm familiar with when it comes to church, people say, well, there are good pastors and there are bad pastors. But what I've known, thankfully, is good pastors, good people. You have to be a good person first that have become pastors or felt led to be pastors and have been good pastors. So, but I've seen a lot, and I've seen a lot of the other end of the spectrum that I want to bring to light today, which is mainly the dedication and sacrifice. So, I've experienced, my father coming home and saying, hey, I have to head back out because such and such son was just shot and killed. And it's 11 o'clock at night, and he's going out to be with that family and help talk with them and help them through that difficult time. I've seen, hey, you know what? I know we just bought this for the house, but there's another family in need. So let's take this from our own home and give this to a family. I've seen, hey, Justin, do you have an extra pair of shoes? Or Cortez or Julian, which are my brother's names. Do you have that? Well, there's another family in need, and teaching us to give to somebody that is in more need than we are. So those new shoes that you like so much, or this, we need to give that to them. So I've seen the sacrifice, which brings my, not only just from a family of being a son, grandson of a brother of pastors, and loving and believing in what the church provides to the community and how important it is to the community. But I've just seen all those facets of it, which brings me to what breaks my heart at the same time is to see pastors that have served in their community and their churches for years and get to the point of retirement, but there's nothing for them at retirement, right? Or they hand their churches down to somebody else, and then people forget about the foundation and the sacrifice that they've made, and they're literally left to fend for themselves. Equally, that the emeritus pastor passes away, and you have a wife at home that has done just as much sacrifice, although maybe not in front as that pastor was, but a sacrifice enough, and that she's not well taken care of, or the family left behind is not. I've also, heard of, and all too common, where we have pastors that are in their prime, that are passing in their prime. Some even on a Sunday while in their pulpit during a message, or while singing, having an episode and laying to what becomes their death, and leaving a family to wonder what's next, leaving a church community to wonder what's next. My plea today is really just to talk to those pastors or this church community about what's next, right? We can get so wrapped into a ritual of coming to church on a Sunday, and we plan to see that person next to us the next Sunday. More importantly, we plan to see that pastor that we're so used to, that shakes our hand, that's preparing a sermon. We plan to see them every Sunday. If you're on the trustee board of directors, however the setup is, or the org setup is for your church, you just plan like every week we're going to do the same thing and everything will be okay. But what if, right? And it's no need to take this look of it can't happen, because we see it happening so much around us. What if it's that pastor's last Sunday? Pastor, what if that is your last Sunday? We don't know, and we hear this in church world, we don't know the time or the hour or the day that will be called in transition, but what if? Are we prepared? To that pastor that has, you're moving and grooving, and man, you're just at your prime, and you have a young family and everything's going right. What happens if that Sunday that you wake up, or and you go to your church and you preach, but what happens if you don't make it home that Sunday? So are we prepared for what's next? And quite often we're not. right? As a church family, as pastors, as trustee boards, we're not prepared because we don't want to have that conversation. Too often our church is left trying to figure out what's next because there's no plan, right? We always plan. We didn't think that our pastors seemed healthy. We didn't think this would happen. Pastors, your families are left, man, we didn't prepare for this. What's next? And that marries the gap for me to what I know, what I love, and to what I do and what I'm passionate about, which is insurance. And I make the plea for life insurance to that young pastor that may, and I pray that this reaches pastors that are either starting out or kind of in your prime to say, hey, we need to talk about this before there's a plan or a loan taken out for an LED screen or all of this to take place in the church, which is good. In fact, I'm not against that. We have that. But let's handle the business of making sure that, for one, you're okay and that your family's okay, but also that the church is okay. And we have something called an Index Universal Life Policy that does that. My passion here is to marry those to how can we make sure that, for one, pastor, that you're not at that age of, hey, I'm wanting to retire, but I haven't made any plans to do so. So I'm stuck in a pulpit trying to preach past the stage that I should, just so I can have some income coming in. That happens, right? If we're honest and transparent, that happens a lot. So let's prepare for that. Let's start now so you can retire well. And by well, I mean retire. You may not retire with all the money in the world, but we can set a plan up to where you can retire and do those things that you want to do without having to do something past your prime, so everybody can be prepared to move on. Let's prepare your family to live and sustain if you're no longer here. You know, there's a quote that I read that really hits home for me, is that, and it's speaking towards the men as men, as fathers, as husbands, whatever you may be, that we really spend our life preparing our family to live without us, right? Our goal is to spend life kind of with our family, enjoying moments, but also preparing them that one day I won't be here so they can continue life on without you. That's really what life insurance is all about. For the church, for the trustee boards, are we prepared for that? And although we don't want to fathom that, we don't want to think about being without our senior pastor, our leaders, but what happens if they're no longer here? Do we have the finances as a church to be able to either recruit or bring somebody else in to help lead our congregation, our church to that next point? Because finances become a big conversation after that. So I want to talk about that, right? I want to spend time to talk with you and talk through what this looks like. But it's on my heart to make sure that our pastors, again, I'm a son of a pastor. I was the grandson, I'm a brother of one. And I have a passion to make sure that we're well taken care of, because you've worked too hard and we work too hard to sacrifice for others not to make preparation so that you can enjoy the fruits of your service and your labor. And if you're not here to be able to enjoy it, that your family and the community that you serve can carry on without you. So, Index Universal Life Policy, let's have a discussion. Let's talk about it. It's necessary. It's important. We need it. And we need you. Thank you.